Hello everyone, Tony here, and I know when we do a Manscaped read, we normally have myself, Aaron, and Steve with me, but I needed to get this one out quick because it has to go in this week's episode because our friends at Manscaped have sent us this, the Handyman. They have entered the beard game. It is no longer just about your balls, my friends. Our faces are getting the Manscaped treatment as well. Are you tired with that relentless stubble situation? Do you dream of having a fresh, clean-shaven look but cringe at the thought of battling the daily grind of a wet shave? Well, you are not alone, my friends, and that's why we've teamed up with Manscaped to bring you the ultimate solution. Brace yourselves, because Manscaped is making a statement in the beard game with the all-new Handyman Electric Face Shaver. Your ticket to a face as smooth and sharp as James Bond, minus the chaos of a traditional shave. Join the 9 million gents worldwide who've entrusted their grooming to Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Hop over to manscaped.com, use the promo code FMShow to snag a glorious 20% off and score free worldwide shipping. As I say, this turned up this morning. Usually when I do my beard, I get a disposable razor in to do my neck and obviously the line up and under my eyes. I used the Handyman this morning, and my word, no more disposable razors for me. This is a seriously good bit of kit. I am very, very impressed with that. Whether you're looking for a wet shave or whether you're going to do it dry, the Handyman is your trusty sidekick, ready for action wherever you go. It's compact design, it's airplane friendly. It makes it the ultimate on-the-go grooming tool. And of course, if you have a bit more on your face like I do, you can also look at getting yourself involved with the beard hedger that has up to 20 hair cutting lengths, all on one guard, so no more messy drawer full of extra add-ons. So trust me, gents, you cannot go wrong with any of these options. Manscaped has your grooming game locked and loaded. Get 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code FMShow at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code FMShow. Hit that refresh button with the Handyman. I'm Tony Jameson, and this is the FM Show. Welcome to the FM Show. Football Manager 24 is live, and so are we. What a week it's been. We've had a live show in Nottingham that absolutely, definitely went ahead, despite being slightly unsure about that with last week's episode. We'll talk about that in a second. FM24 has launched fully, and more importantly, producer Steve has joined us in the here and the now. More on that later, but let's check in with the team. Joining me, as always, are RDF Tactics and producer Steve. How are we, fellas?
I am still buzzing. I'm buzzing. I'm barking.
That will make total sense.
Makes no sense unless you were in Nottingham on Monday. And even then, it makes little sense at that point as well.
It's struggling to make sense to me as well. But I'm still a bit head blown that people actually travelled around the country as well to come and see us. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. I was literally yesterday, I was just sitting there and I got the poster on my wall in the living room as well. I was just thinking, wow. Because like someone rightly said on Twitter as well, that a few years ago, I didn't even want to put a webcam on, turn the webcam on. And then now I'm here, just literally on stage, which is it's quite crazy. And it felt natural as well. The first time, obviously, in Insomnia Gaming, it was a bit nerve-wracking. This one just felt like, we were just sitting on stage, but it just felt like we was just doing it anyway, like we're doing it now, which was a good feeling. Obviously, you get that nerves when the lights went off and it got dark, and it's like, oh wait, this is actually going now. It's actually happening now. And then once we started talking, it just felt normal. But I'm still buzzing. It was an amazing.
It was great fun, wasn't it? It was so awesome. And thank you so much to everyone who did come to the live show, by the way. Like, because we know it's Monday night, it's Nottingham, and it's November, and FM24 is released on the same day. But we tried to angle it, didn't we, Steve? Like, sort of say, come and watch the show, and then after that, come out for a drink with us, come and have a chat, and we'll sort of talk FM. And yeah, I mean, of course, it's behind a paywall on Patreon. If you haven't seen it, you can, of course, come and see the show. It will be uploaded later on. But we've already put a couple of clips out for it, and there's a few more. But Steve, how did you find your first FM live show?
Well, it's our second, so there's
No, it's our first, because Insomnia Gaming Festival, as you called it on the show, was us next to Zombie Apocalypse.
That's true.
So this is the first one
Yeah.
where we weren't getting heckled by zombies.
Yeah, well, we had marking from Aaron instead, didn't we? Yeah, there was also, we'll just share with you as well. As Tony rightly says, if you sign up to Patreon, that's the only place that you'll be able to relive that live show. If you weren't there, you'll be reliving it if you were there, of course. You'll be seeing it for the first time if you go there to Patreon. That's how English generally works. Aaron is right. He did treat it very much like it was a stream, or very much like he was so much so that at one point he said to the audience, "All right, chat, what do we think?" As if like,
yeah.
I didn't at first. I didn't really notice. As when I looked over, and Tony was just like laughing his head off, and people were laughing.
I was gone.
like, "What?"
I was gone.
I was like, I can't believe I've just said that.
Yeah. But no, that was it was a wonderful experience. So thank you for the Nottingham Comedy Festival for inviting us. And yeah, can't wait to do the next one.
Well, I must admit, we've already been invited back, so that seems to suggest it's gone well.
Wow.
And we are trying to get some more dates. So again, it's worth potentially having a look at that Patreon, because you will get to find out about that information first if we get those things announced. But anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about FM24, because that's the big news, isn't it? Obviously, we knew that the game was coming out. Even Steve, you heard the game was coming out, and somehow, you little sneaky devil, you then announced on last week's show that you had a code. So you've joined us in FM24.
I've dipped my toe. Because I don't know what the equivalent of like FM version altitude sickness is, because I did get a bit of it. And I'll be completely honest and say I have gone back to FM22 for a bit in Fiorentina, because I got scared. I could do both. Right? A little bit of Florence, a little bit of Merseyside.
We're hoping.
Hang on, you guys have got multiple saves going on. Why can't I do it across multiple different games?
At least start
True.
FM24 with Fiorentina and just have that bit of familiarity.
No, the thing is, Tony, as listeners and viewers will know from a few weeks ago, when we were talking about you beating Fiorentina on Atalanta, and you know, stabbing that knife into my heart by sharing the screenshot. I looked at that squad as being like, sold him. So you know, so I've it won't be the same, man. Unless, ironically, if it's FM23, it could have been exactly the same, but it was one version out too far. So I have,
I suppose the thing as well, Steve, is that there's always that saying, isn't there, of you should never go back, and you're very smart and you're not doing that. I, however, have not got that smart. I went back because I'm doing 2 saves this year. Aaron, we'll talk to yourself in a second, because you've probably done 2 saves already. I'm doing 2 saves. One is the return to Blind Spartans, which I'm very, very excited about, over on YouTube. There's a link in the description, by the way, if you come and have a watch of it. Context being, we talked about last week, it's been 10 years since my stand-up show, Football Manager Ruined My Life, in that we talked about my Blind Spartans save where we won the Champions League. And I'm thinking, you know what? It's about time I go and ruin that legacy. And loaded it up. We started it in early access. So I was that excited to do it. I was like, right, I've got too much to do with my second save, so I'm going to get this Blind Spartans one on the go as well. Started in early access, and I'm going, this is gonna go badly. Okay, day 1, expectation is finish bottom of the league. We are 200-1 rank outsiders for the title. And you know what, fellas? I'm a man that likes a challenge. So I went and won the Vanarama National League North at the first attempt, didn't I?
Wow.
With 103 points, by the way.
Gee.
Yes. 46-game season, I won it on match day 41.
Oh, that's not procession to the title.
You know what, Steve? You're right. There's a little thing in there, and some people might not have got to this bit yet, but if you win the league before the end of the season, the next match you play, your opposition gives you a guard of honor.
That's great.
So cool.
Yeah, and I accidentally skipped mine because I wasn't expecting it.
You get the little graphic like a trophy thing.
I see it loaded. I saw the players. Yeah, the I was like, no, because it automatically goes to that screen, and you can see the players, and you just know what it was, but it's just too late. You're so used to it.
That's
like, go back, and you can't do it.
Yeah,
but yeah, top goal scorer Nicky de Verdicts, who's a 36-year-old playmaker in midfield. He scored 23 goals. About I'd say about 18 of them were penalties, to be honest.
Wow.
But we were good, man. 3 versions of 4-3-3. We were brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. We had so much fun there.
I'm looking at the history of the Vanarama National League North as well, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say, on FM24, which I obviously know have discussed. And it only goes back to 2004-05 season. But Blythe are not even in the top 3 in any of those seasons. So you really...
Nope.
You know.
According to the game, I have achieved the highest ever position with Blythe Spartans. Now, I would take exception to that because I'm fully aware they've won the European Cup before. So clearly rewriting history.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've started with an absolute bang on Blythe Spartans. So that's been amazing. And then we've started Build a Nation Greece, which is, that's so much. We'll talk about that in a second because it probably leads into how we set up our saves, because there's a question that I need to ask of the two of you when you're on day one. So we'll get to that in a bit. Aaron, whereabouts are you, though? Because we joked on the live show, literally, the game dropped at 4:00, and by the time the live show started, you were already on save 2.
Yeah,
So where are we now?
I was in the hotel room, and as soon as it dropped, I was, admittedly using the Wi-Fi in the hotel, downloaded that game straight away. But we are doing a save on stream on Twitch, RDF Tactics. That's definitely not it. Twitch.tv/RDF Tactics. RDFTactics.com.
I don't know how you've got as many subscribers as you have when you don't know where
biggest
your
YouTube
is.
channels in the Football Manager universe. You can't even say your own damn name.
I don't. Yeah.
www.rdftacticsvideos.com.
Anyway.
Yeah, so I've decided to pick sort of a challenge. So beforehand, I went on Wikipedia and I searched for football teams in Madrid, and I was searching for the lowest ranked team that is playable in the game, obviously, which are in the 4th tier in Spain, I believe. They are called Union Avade. Sorry, I just checked to see if Steve knew.
There's no point checking me for pronunciations. Going, Tony, can you check if that's right? I don't know.
Their stadium's actually the Vicente del Bosque Stadium, which is pretty
nice.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty.
Great.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, "This is definitely the save for me." So we started that, predicted to finish mid-table. At the end of season 1, we finished 3rd, but we had to do a playoffs because only the top team get promoted. So there's 5 groups in the 4th tier, and then I believe from 2nd to 5th, those 4 teams will then be in the playoffs. So I played a different team from a different group, which is actually fairly difficult because you know nothing about them, which was a bit of a shock to me as well. We got a decent draw away in the semi-final of the playoffs, but then we lost at home, which was devastating because when I got the draw away from home, I thought, yeah, this is in our hands now. But then we lost at home to them, which was a bit heartbreaking, but we overachieved because we was only predicted to finish mid-table. And I also fixed the club's finances, which was a task, and I was 2 years ahead of schedule. I was clicking. Literally the day after the season ended, I got a message saying that the board has reverted back to semi-professional, and that kind of just broke my heart. That broke my heart.
Oh.
Yeah, I was sort of just looking at the screen. I was just staring at the screen for quite some time. I was just wondering what to do because my Leon save is still not deleted. It's still good to go, still incomplete. I was heartbroken, man. All that hard work, and that's what they did to me.
Do you know what's weird as well? Coincidental. Union Adav has at the Polideportivo Vicente del Bosque has the same capacity as Blythe Spartans ground. 2000.
Ooh.
Oh, we should get a link up.
affiliate clubs. Yeah, you can.
Like, affiliate. Whoever can get an actual match managed in real life in either of those stadiums, that's how we win the. That's how we win.
Hang on, Tony. I feel like you've got.
I haven't got. Just because I've got an in doesn't mean I'm going to get it done.
Down the road for you compared to Madrid.
I've been trying on Twitter. I've been atting them. They got an esports team. Maybe I should at them. Yeah, they got an esports team as well. But that's how the save is going. I just feel a bit.
See, there you go. Blythe Spartans haven't got an esports team there. He's already got www.rdftacticsesportsteams.com.
I'm just I don't know what to do. But now I'm thinking I'm gonna stay with the challenge. So what's happened now? The best players now, their contracts have finished. I couldn't at the time. The contract was ending. I couldn't, because they haven't sent me the next season's balance yet. I couldn't offer them new contract because my wage thing was in minus. So I just accepted that they were going. And then I just called up about 9 region players into the first team. And then when I did get my budget, because it's not a lot of money, and that really needs to go back into the squad because we've lost our back two, the 2 centre backs, the left back, the back 4 basically. We lost the centre midfielder and the 2 wingers as well. So it was all about, we're using data. What I would usually do is find players with good data, scout them, but obviously we don't have the money for scouts, so we're just taking the risk of, we like that data, your league reputation is similar to ours, so we're just going to sign you. And that's how it's gone. Looking at about 4 of those players, it looks promising. A couple of them was like, I never would have signed you if I saw your attributes. But that's the risk. That's the risk we take. But fair enough, we did loan a right back who was in a similar position. In his first game, he was just bombing up that right wing, taking shots. I was like, look at this geezer. So it might play out. It might be one of those players that can do well in the game, not necessarily the greatest attributes, which I find there's quite a few of them in Football Manager.
Absolutely. And you know what? That's the exciting thing, Aaron. You've come down to my level now, right? Let's see just how good a manager you really are.
It is horrible. It is horrible. The first thing is, because it's in Spain, like I can picture the non-league fourth tier in England. You kind of think like hoofball, direct football. And then in my head, I don't know why I thought in Spain, everything's just going to be nice tiki-taka. But no, my players were struggling to control the ball. I remember we were trying to play out from the back. My goalkeeper just gave it to the centre-back, and he just miscontrolled it. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, yep, that's it. From kicks, we're looking at the winger. So I just chose my winger with the best aerial ability. And I was just aiming long kicks to him, try and win that flick on. If not, it goes out for a throw-in, possibly. Just don't play out from the back. Don't attempt that again.
Yeah. It's all about moving possession away from your goal. That's all it is. Just get the ball further away.
Which is a challenge. It's a challenge for me because you know me. I like to play the way I want to play, but now I have to find ways to do what I've got with a squad. And yeah, it's nice, but
I like it. I like it. It's making you think a different way because football can be done differently, you know. And that's what you're looking at. You're looking at different cultures, different ways of getting the beautiful game done. And I touched a little bit upon Greece. Obviously, I'm trying to build a nation, Steve. Right? I'm not just trying to build a dynasty in Blythe and restore a reputation. I'm trying to build an entire nation here. And we started that on the stream, twitch.tv/Tony Jameson FM. See,
there you go.
Link, right? Who'd have thought I'd be the professional on the podcast? And we started that on Tuesday. Obviously, we had the show in Nottingham Monday, came on Tuesday, and we've decided to go, and I didn't think I'd do this actually. We decided to go with the real world setup because there's 3 ways of playing on Football Manager 24. You can do the out the box version, which of course is all the transfers already done as they would be at the end of the transfer window, but the game starts in June or July. You've got the real world scenario where the transfers happen in real time, essentially, throughout your game. So you start and then players will drop in as they did in real life. Or there's the rewrite history mode, where you have all the transfer budget, but you don't have any of the transfers organized. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to take the real world scenario. I thought I'd have gone out the box, but I was like, real world might be fun. Let's do that. We're going with Larissa, who are a club who won the title in 1988. So it's been a little while since they won the title. They're the only side outside of the big areas like Athens and Salonika to have won the title. They've been relegated to Division 2, obviously. So that's why I'm there. And we had our first day screen on there. We sat and we tried to get into the squad and see what was going on. And I put this real world scenario on. I thought that's great, but I also wanted to make the game harder because you know me, I'm not one for making the game easy, right? So I disabled the first transfer window, and that's a brilliant idea. If you want the game to be locked for everybody and go, right, you know what, we're going to do real world transfers. Everyone's already got deals agreed. Let's play where it lies. This is going to be great. It is great if your goalkeeper hasn't damaged his cruciate ligaments at the end of last season and is still out for a further 5 months on day 1. And the backup goalkeepers are, and this is a family podcast, a little bit rubbish.
I was going to say, it's a good idea until you find out you ain't got a single right back in your team, not in the first team reserves or the under 18s, yeah. So I was going to do rock, paper, scissors to find the same players. Whichever one you're playing right back. Luckily, we had a fan that popped in the stream and he told us the left back that I was using actually plays right back, which makes that little process easy. I just retrained him.
That helps. We had a Larissa fan going, you see that big striker? He can play in goal. Like, that's literally where we got. I was looking at players going, who can I retrain as a goalkeeper maybe? But yeah, so that's going to be a long-term save. So I've not really got much of an update on that yet for reasons that we will explain as we get further in the podcast. But Steve, I know you've got FM24 now, and yes, you've kind of dabbled a little bit with Everton, and we've given you some potential scenarios for clubs to manage. There is, of course, going to be many people who are going, who do I take charge of on day one? And if you are struggling with your idea of who to manage on FM, our friends at Surprise Shirts do an FM box that might just help give you a little bit of inspiration. Now, they very kindly sent each of us a box for the show. YouTube viewers will be able to see them in their full glory. Audio viewers, we will describe it as best we can. Each box contains one brand new football shirt with tags from any club around the world who are playable within the basic edition of Football Manager. The shirt can be from any season, but tends to be within the last 10 years.
Yes, and there will be...
Sorry, Aaron was doing a bit of ASMR there with the box, wasn't it? That was lovely.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah.
What are you getting, Aaron?
Oh, yeah, and you will get an info sheet explaining the story behind the shirt that's inside the box, some goodies as well, which is usually some sweets, and a postcard as well. Postcard from Secret Shirts that gives you a heads up about future giveaways.
Marvelous. And we should make clear as well that Surprise Shirts did send us this as a little present, so thank you to them for that.
Yes.
And as a thanks to you guys watching and listening at home for listening to the show, Surprise Shirts are giving the opportunity for 10% discount on any order on the site, if and only if you use the code FM Show at the checkout. So 10% discount, code is FM Show.
Excellent. And I should say that was all written on a script, and Aaron could have known to wait and open the boxes. But Aaron, because it's Christmas morning, you get all excited. Do you want to open your box first?
Yes,
and tell
I
us who you've got. So we'll open these up now. Who we got?
Oh, I think I've just seen the badge through the little paperback as well. And you're gonna be, I don't know if you're gonna be happy or not. Oh no. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought it was Olympiacos or Panathinaikos, and it is Kleeblätter. Okay, sorry. I'm definitely butchering the team's name now. Ooh, this looks beautiful. It's a German team. I am going to attempt this. Kleeblätter. The Clover Leaves are a German team from the city of Fürth in Bavaria. That's
a good one.
This is amazing.
Nice.
Oh, that there is beautiful.
There you go. Oof, that is pretty.
That's
so
kind
the
of
listener should say as well, you can specify leagues and clubs you don't want as well, or leagues you might want. You can get non-league ones as well.
Yeah.
So it is interesting to see. That's a banger, that, Aaron.
Yeah.
Steve, what have you got?
Right, so as discussed and very well described by Aaron, you get all the little goodies and associated bits of history, etc. with it. So just trying to open it at this point. Surprise
for the audio listeners, Aaron's shirt is green and black as well.
Yeah, green and black with nice stripes, and the 3D clover as well. You get various bits of info. Surprise Shirts. Right. Dart heads again as well, So
dart heads,
to keep my eye in. So, I've actually heard of these guys.
Is it Fiorentina? It would be so good if it is.
Imagine.
Steve, have you considered Florence?
Yeah. It is. Oh, it might be. I don't know how many clubs there are in the Romanian city of Cluj. But this is CFR Cluj. Look at this little maroon number. Look at this.
Oh, that's nice.
Just for the listeners, just maroon, nothing else. White for the badge and stuff, but no stripes. Simple, elegant. I like it.
That's beautiful.
Maroon, there we go. Realising the limitations of this sort of narrow portrait thing in terms of showing the shirt to people. But yeah, so that's Football Club Cluj, CFR Cluj, Romanian professional football club based in Cluj-Napoca. Their nickname is the Railwaymen. Or Ferroviari. I don't know I can't tell you how good my Romanian pronunciation is, but I hope that was vaguely right. And they play in the 23,500 capacity Stadionul Constantine Radulescu. 16 domestic trophies. Wow. Main rivalry.
Steve's got the glory team.
Yeah. Glory.
Yeah. I kind of do, actually. Liga A. Or whatever one is in Romanian. Sorry for not knowing that. But yeah.
Well, Aaron,
Oh,
you
hang
did
on,
build
this
a
is the
nation
Romanian
Romania last year.
champions.
You should give Steve a bit of a heads up on this one. Can you win the Champions League with Cluj, Steve? Do you reckon?
That could be fun. Cluj, let's have a
That
look.
could be fun.
Yeah, he's going
That
for
could be
it.
fun.
CFR
Right.
Cluj.
I'll tell you what, I'm having a little nosy here as well.
I was going to
See
say,
what
what's
I've
in
got. So
yours?
I've got.
What's Tony got? Drum roll.
Yeah, there's the old wings.
Got your wings.
All right. Now, depending upon my eyesight, these colours are. This is either going to be vibrant or no. It's very vibrant, very vibrant. Haribo Star Mix, my absolute favourite as well. Ooh,
It's going to be like the dress
Right,
in
okay.
social media where it was like you couldn't tell if it was gold and white or the Inter Milan colours.
yeah. I've just looked at this and went, oh, this is really interesting. And I've just realised, like, oh, okay, this is very interesting indeed. Because it's an away shirt for a start, and it's Wraith Rovers.
That is, wow.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Look at that.
If
I
your
do like
screens
that
are a
one.
bit confused, it is genuinely that luminescently orange. It is orange, isn't
So I was
it?
trying to, because it's before, no, it's pink. It's bright pink.
Okay.
Bright pink.
I'm terrible with colours, as I've discussed with my wife in the past, so I'm not really luminescent something.
So yeah, there we go. That's it's under some sort of like tissue paper. So I was like, is it red? Is it pink? Is it orange? I was like, no, it's definitely pink right there. So so awesome, absolutely
Wraith
awesome. Thank you very much to Surprise Shirts. If you're struggling, and of course we might have a little nosy about on FM with those teams right there. If you're struggling for an idea of a save to have, then of course do feel free. Hit Surprise Shirts up. Tell them we've sent you by using the code FM Show. Get yourself 10% off, and then let us know which shirt you got. That'd be quite interesting to find out. So we'll move on from that, which is brilliant. Shout out, by the way, as well to our new Patreon members who've joined us: Brian Cook, Richie Whalen, and Matthew Greenwood. They've all joined the squad this week, so appreciate the support. Very, very kind indeed. And this week's episode is a follow-on from last week, which of course was basically your day one at your new club. Or, as Scott McClintock has put it in our on YouTube, he's basically said, I don't know how long exactly, but never click past the first day until I've got through every player and staff and set up scouts and training and everything else. Sometimes it feels like weeks, not days or hours. And that was going to be a question that I was going to lead to you because, as I say, we did the Build a Nation save and we did the first stream was literally, I did not hit continue in 3 hours.
Wow.
Steve, is that about average for yourself?
Yeah, I'm still there. I'm still on day one with Everton. I've not. I've done a lot, but I've not moved chronologically in time at all. That first 11, second 11 fixture is still quite a way away.
I don't know how you don't do it. I'm snappy. I need to get to action. So yeah, it doesn't take me long, to be fair. I don't know if it's just the speed of things that I do it or because I'm just used to where things are and I'm just buzzing about. But I do go through the stuff and stuff, but it seems just to be a very quick process for me. But maybe as well, I'm not sure how people, because I've got views as well in my game, so you can customize your own views, your pages in Football Manager, and I don't always necessarily have to click on the players or staff profile to see the attributes because I can already see it on my view. So I think that's also a way I can quickly sort out my stuff because it's just a click of a button to sort out. If I got scouts somewhere in the Premier League, it's easy for me to just press one button to filter it, and I can just sack all the people that don't have judging ability of 15 at least.
Wait, hang on.
That's in the top division.
He's sacked players for one mistake. It's hardly surprised he's sacking staff who haven't got attributes of 15.
So you're day
in
one?
The 4th division of Spain.
Day one. Okay,
Good luck with that.
It always sort of depends on the team that I am. But if I'm in a top division, I tend to be a team that has a bit of cash,
Money.
a little guala, yeah. So
Cash
I can
rich,
afford
money.
to do that. Yeah. And
So hang on. So you imagine this in real life. You sort of line up people in a room on day one. You 5, you're sacked.
you're fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an absolute like power trip, isn't it? Just like get them in,
Well-
get everyone in, right? At the end of the day, one of you won't survive.
Sam-
It's literally
You
You've
signed me
turned
for
it
my
into Battle
tactics.
Royale.
You signed me for my tactics, my idea, my philosophy. And that's what happens, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
God.
I'm sorry.
You Joe Hart every single one of them, don't you? Really? Wow. God.
It's
I feel sorry because you're gonna make them all terribly nervous. Because then, of course, the next question that you're gonna give them, Aaron, after you've went right, okay, only one of you won't make the process. You're then going right. I'm gonna potentially divvy up some of these tasks for you. So not only are you worried about being fired there and then, you've then got to work out what job you're gonna have to do. So
exactly that.
Last week we started talking about things like manager traits, coaching responsibilities, staff hiring, adverts. But let's talk about delegation, Aaron. Right. So say for example, I'm stood. You've called the meeting. Okay, right. Hello, welcome to 4th Division Spain. I'm Aaron. I'm your new manager. Don't like the look of you. You're gone.
Yeah.
Right? Your shoes are too mucky. Not having you. You mentioned on the last episode about delegating training to your specific coaches. So, like, obviously, make sure your attacking coaches are doing your attacking training. Make sure your defensive coaches are doing defensive coaching. FM is quite good in the fact that if you just want to take charge of the team, then you can do that, and you can delegate other bits and pieces out, like media work or contract renewals or scouting and even transfers, as we found if you want Eric Dyer in your side for some reason. What do you tend to do, Aaron? Are you a delegator or are you hands-on?
See, now this is why maybe what I've just said a moment ago makes a little bit more sense, is because I heavily rely on my staff as well. So they do quite have to be the best of the best. So I think that's where it is. That's where part of it comes from as well. So especially my assistant manager, like, he really has to be a good coach, or at least I have to have one good coach that can sort of be able to handle many things. And usually I go with that attribute, mental attribute. And I usually pick him to kind of give me the coaching reports and that sort of stuff. And he kind of handles, if I don't want to do it, my training routines, then I will handle it to him. But actually this year, I'm actually enjoying doing my routines manually before games. I've quite enjoyed that.
Should we talk through, for the listeners as much as anything else, how we get to those bits? Because it's not the most obvious place in the game to find it. So yeah, how do we get there?
So on the left-hand side, you've got quite a few options here, but you will able to see staff, and you click on that. And then you've got some drop-down options on the top left, and you can click on responsibilities. And then again, you've got quite a few options to pick from. And we can actually start with set pieces. So we start from the bottom. And at the moment, it is the FM Show pod manager that is controlling the team's set pieces. Now, again, I'm one that doesn't really like doing the set pieces in FM24. Not yet anyway. I will have time to look at it in my own time. But then I will just go to delegate. Now, usually, I think it's automatic, and it'll kind of automatically pick the best coach suited for it, especially if you don't have a set piece coach. But if you press delegate, it will tend to go for the set piece coach first, or it will go for the next suited person, which in our case is Willie Caballero. And then I will just go ahead and click confirm. And then that's it. I don't have to worry about my set pieces because Mr. Willie Caballero will be handling the set pieces.
Willie Caballero is a goalkeeper, is he?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, his set piece attribute is 13. So now it does make sense why it's automatically gone to him, because it seems like it's automatically gone to the coach with the best set piece attribute.
Well, he's gone then, isn't he, Aaron? So
Exactly. Yeah. I feel really bad for Teddy Sheringham that I brought as a coach, because he doesn't have any 15s. So I did do that, by the way. I brought him as a coach.
Blythe Martins.
Larissa.
Larissa. That's fun.
Larissa. And Nikos Dabizas is my director of football.
Yeah, he's an ex-Larissa player, I think, as well, isn't he, Nikos Dabizas?
Yeah. And so is his former Champman legend, Mbo Mpenza. I've got him as me scout.
Wow.
So, yeah. So you're delegating your set pieces then to Willie Caballero, particularly handy if you don't have a set piece coach as well.
Yeah, and I was going to say, if you are new to the game, this page will really come in handy for you. And it just allow you to focus on certain things that you really want to focus on. Yeah. Especially some people like to do friendlies, some people don't like to do friendlies. And again, this is something that you can just delegate to your staff, and even making your backroom staff arrange those friendlies as well. If this is something that you don't really want to bother with before every season, trying to prepare your pre-season, you can delegate that to your assistant. Again, the same with tactics. You can ask who's providing. You can change who's providing your team selection advice. So you should pick someone that knows your squad the best. Again, judging player ability, possibly tactical knowledge as well. And then we've got provide opposition instructions. Some people, I watch people a lot on stream, and every game they ask their assistant to pick it. And then in my head, I'm like, you can just go to the staff responsibility page and just get him to do that. So you never have to click that button again. But again, this is what this page here is useful for.
Hello everyone, Tony here. Hope you're enjoying the episode. And if you are enjoying the episode, then maybe you might consider signing up to support us on Patreon, Aaron.
Yes. And we can't just leave it there. I think we should tell them more. What are we offering?
Okay, right. So Patreon, if you don't know what Patreon is a way of supporting the FM show as a podcast if you can afford it. We must stress if you can afford it, okay?
Yes.
If you want to sign up, become a member of the FM show team, you can do so from as little as £3 a month. And Aaron, what are we going to give them in return?
Exclusive content, some of my favorite things, but also a Patreon shout out. We'll get some bonus episodes given to you. I believe as well, you get some Discord benefits. Am I right?
There's Discord benefits, absolutely. There's a little private secret channel in there where only the Patreons can talk, where they get maybe they get some heads up on things that we're going to start making in the future as well. We've started putting save files in for certain tiers. You might hear about live show tickets early doors because, you know, we've got a live show on now. We might have more in the future, and we're going to let our Patreons know about that first.
Oh, yes. And even if you're struggling a bit on Football Manager, we will be doing a monthly Q&A for FM24.
Absolutely. And there's going to be loads more stuff as well. Potentially things like me and Aaron going up against each other on versus mode. It's going to be the place to be. If you can afford to support the podcast, please do. From as little as £3 a month, you can go and visit patreon.com/the FM Show Pod to become a member of the FM Show squad. I was going to say, if you have say for example, you take over a team that's brand new and you don't know much about them, that get assistant to pick squad for you is really handy because you can then work out who's, according to the staff, who's the best player for those positions. And it is quite a nice little start for 10. If you're in pre-season, you're at Cluj, for example, Steve, and you don't know who the best players at Cluj are, then your assistant manager might be like, hey, maybe try these guys. They'll be the way. And then you can then go, well, actually, that's not a bad idea. Or, you know what, you're wrong.
Sorry, I've also got a quick fire tip. It's actually very, very quick. So if you are new, you've just taken over a team, you don't know the players, what you can do, if you want to kind of get a reference point, go to your tactics and then pick a tactical style that has got a thumbs up that you can see here. So on the left, I've selected tactic and you can see there's fluid counter-attack, vertical tiki-taka and gegenpress. I'll click gegenpress, choose formation. Again, I'm choosing the one that the assistant recommends, which is the 4-2-3-1. Press confirm. Now, I don't know the players here. What I will do, go over on the right-hand side, right next to quick pick, you've got a drop-down button and then pick without restriction. And then you can pick the best 11, which is, of course, your assistant manager's best 11 with no restriction. And then there we are. It's, of course, going to pick players that are possibly out on loan and also injured players as well. But it is showing you with everybody that's contracted to Leicester, this is the best 11 for Leicester, in his opinion.
An opinion, Steve, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Because, of course, you have the overriding say if you want it. You can, of course, have it out as someone else can take charge.
And it's genuinely really worth going through all of these. You know, as Aaron's pointed out, you go your responsibilities. Let's just say for the sake of it, you go from set pieces upwards, you go through because it's often the thing. I found this coming back into FM21, having had a break for quite a while. It is a lot. It's a lot coming at you. So this is, and the reason that we mentioned the last episode about doing the staff, etc. first is because they are the lens through which you see all of the things that we're now talking about. So the better staff you have for it, the better information, and we'll talk about that in future when it comes to things like the data hub and stuff as well. Fundamentally, with the data hub as well as other things, the better staff you have, it's really foundational. But so go through all of this because I'm just going through this now on my evidence to say because I forgot. And it's little things too in terms of like media interviews. If you can't be bothered with certain press things to click through them, it speeds the game up a lot for you if that's what you would like. And you can, I don't know about how you guys feel about this actually. I know, Tony, on your Atalanta save, you mentioned entirely for transfers relying on a director of football. What I tend to do is delegate everything under 18s, don't mind, don't necessarily care about it. For under 21s, I delegate initiating player sales and negotiating player sales. But the final player signing thing, I keep. Because what I hate, as is kind of happening in your Eric Dyer example, Tony, is being told something's happened, it's too late. And I like to get which must be quite annoying to have to work for. You do all the work and then someone's got the final say.
Yeah.
You know,
it's worth remembering as well, and just because you made that point there, particularly about media, like, because again we were firing through that second season at Atalanta, so we left Yap Stam in charge of press conferences. Now, presumably Yap Stam's really media friendly, but you've got to think about that if you are delegating those tasks off. If, for example, you're letting your assistant manager do the press conferences, if they're confrontational, then they could actually be making your job much harder by going and just giving the press a load of grief and answering the questions in ways that you don't want them. They could be upsetting players. So that could potentially make your job that little bit tougher when you thought you're actually making it a bit easier. So it is worth looking out at your backroom staff to be like, am I letting these people... Are the right people in charge of the right things is ultimately what you want to be looking at when you get to the screen.
Exactly that. And to find that, you can just go to your assistant, because it's possibly your assistant that will be doing that media handling. And then you go to his profile or her profile, go to the overview at the top left, and then you go to information. And then you can see here under favored clubs, you've got media handling style. Willie Caballero, for an example, is media friendly and reserved. So that's how he would approach those media meetings.
Steve, you look like you're about to jump in there for a second.
And I've forgotten what I was going to say. Actually, no, it was a question. Actually, it was a question. So, in terms of the asking for a friend, the transition from FN22, 23 to 24, you mentioned the press conferences, the impact, and that sort of stuff.
Yes.
With my FN22 head on, that wouldn't necessarily make that much of a difference from my experience of the game. In terms of, I do have my assistant manager doing quite a lot of press conferences. There is reaction from players sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it says something like, I wouldn't have clicked that particular button, but fine. You have to accept that when you delegate to a degree. But are you saying it's a lot, that stuff matters a lot more now because of the way that the game has changed?
I think it's likely. I mean, it's difficult to say after only a couple of weeks, I'm guessing. I think the idea is that it's meant to have more impact now.
I was going to say, I do feel even back then it did make an impact. So I was always... like, if I really want to micromanage, and I probably did this about in one save in FM 22 and 23, is that what I did notice is that maybe through your press conferences, maybe you don't notice it because you're still getting reactions, but I think sometimes you can get more reactions, more positive reactions if you did it, because sometimes you might have said something that's only motivated or sparked just one or two heads, rather than something that could have sparked a possible 7-8 heads leading into a match as well. So that's possibly it, because you remember players do have, your squad actually, your team has a personality, but also players have personalities as well. So some players are going to handle what you've said differently to others.
But it's also interesting as well that you'll notice that the journalists have relationships and views of you as well. So that if you've got a journalist that has a low opinion of you, then of course they're going to twist your words in the same way that they might twist your assistant manager's words. So if they've maybe given them the rile up on that, so then you're copping the flack for what they've said. That doesn't really seem fair, does it? And then of course it turns where the fans are then getting involved in it, because of course, again, Steve, the fans play a big part in FM now with, potentially things like club culture, the supporter breakdown into your core fans, your hardcore fans, your family, your fair weather, supporter influence on the board. I mean, you could be sat there thinking, this is brilliant. We're having a great time. If the supporters have got a high influence, all it takes is a couple of bad results and they're shouting for your head.
That's really interesting. And that's probably the bigger change, I think, that it sounds like it's going to come. One tiny little tidbit of a thing I should mention too, when you're going through and do all this, having done this 3 times now and not made it stick. You go through, you change. I'm on staff responsibilities at the moment. I'm going through deciding that I can hire and fire the people I want to hire and fire, directors, staff recruitment, that sort of thing. Bottom right-hand corner comes up in yellow for me. Might be different for you based on what your choice is. Press confirm. Please press confirm.
Yes.
Then you'll go back.
Yes.
And you'll be like, I thought I did that.
So many times that's gone through.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily just leaving a responsibility page. It's literally, so from going from set pieces to match, for an example, make sure you confirm your set piece changes, press confirm, and then go into match. Don't do your set piece, then match, then tactics, thinking you can just press confirm once at all towards the end. Make sure you press confirm after you make every single change.
Now, obviously, we're going through and delegating our staff out now and thinking, right, you're the right person to do that. You're the right person to do that. it's probably worth having a little nosy on day one to work out what the expectation of the club actually is. Now, in terms of expectations that I look at from day one, I tend to go straight to the league that I'm managing in to work out where I'm expected to finish according to the bookies, because as we've said at the start, I do like to defy those odds. In previous saves, I have negatively defied the odds where I'm expected to do well, and I've done quite badly. So I do like to have a rough idea of where we are. And Aaron, if you can just bring that up on the screen and talk us through there, and then a little thing about the team of the league as well, the dream team.
So you can just go to, there's multiple ways you can find your league table. My favorite way, I just go to the left where the schedule, look at the fixtures, and I just press the championship right here. And then from here at the top left where it says overview, press that. You got a drop down options and then press season preview. And then here will be sort of the media's expectations of your side. And that will be matching it up, of course, with the quality of players within the team. Now, Leicester, the team that we are controlling, are expected to win the league. So some high expectations. We're expected to go up with Leeds, and Southampton are sort of in that playoff position. But we are expected to win the league. And then slightly to the right-hand side, you do have the media's Dream 11. And that, again, will show you sort of the best players in each position. The media here at the championship, they've selected the 4-4-2 as the best way to go. And we've got Ian Nacho and Jamie Vardy up top as the media Dream 11. So possibly Leicester, there's a 4-4-2 question mark here when it comes to the tactics.
Okay, now that's interesting. You're starting to mention tactics because you can then go back to your club vision, and then that will tie you into where the expectations of the club.
Yeah.
So the expectation of whether you're going to win the league, which I guess is obviously what Leicester are wanting, and maybe the board wanting you to play expansive football, pressing football, high tempo football. Maybe the fans want you to play a very rigid style, possibly. So that 4-4-2 that might work brilliantly might not be what the fans and the board want, and those two things can often, as is the way in football, not necessarily be singing from the same hymn sheet.
Exactly that. And it depends what type of pressure you want as well, because like I said, the media are expecting us to finish top of the championship table, but the board just want to reach the championship playoffs in the current season. So to be fair, anywhere in the top 6 would be fine for us. It's not the best scenario, but that could be the worst case scenario for Leicester here. The board culture want us to play attacking football. Now, next to the board culture and what they want is actually the importance of that. Playing attacking football, it's just favoured. It's not really important. But for us, Leicester, to reach the championship playoffs, that is required. And also be competitive in the FA Cup as well. Be competitive in the Carabao Cup, that is only preferred from our board.
And so just to sort of maybe state the obvious in terms of like the things you have to prioritize, it is the required stuff rather than, so just looking at club vision for which you go to club vision on the left, you go to board in terms of the board expectations. Sorry, it shows you both supporters and board.
Yeah.
Tab back and forth between them. The board and the supporters would desire entertaining football, be competitive against Liverpool, specifically for Everton, become an established Premier Division team. Weird for that to be for Everton because they've been in it every single season the Premier League existed, only been relegated once in their history, but there we go. I think
there's expectations are slipping, aren't they? That's the problem.
That is required.
To be in for a battle,
and become, I suppose, because you're right, they're slipping down. So that's a required thing from the supporters' perspective. But ultimately, I'm told that it's required to work within the wage budget.
Yeah, and even the supporters here, the supporters here at Leicester get better of our rival Nottingham Forest if we happen to play them, and that is required. Interestingly, at Leicester, the supporters group, Leicester have a fan base known for being very passionate. They have a high level of influence on the board and feel their collective views are valued. So if we do come across a Nottingham Forest, we have to make sure we win, and they want to gain automatic promotion to the Premier League as well.
And here's a question. Answer in the comments below, by the way, on YouTube.
Yes!
I did. I mentioned the chat, didn't I? Sorry. It's quite catchy, this making mistakes laugh, isn't it?
Calling my kids to chat as well. All right, chat bedtime.
I've banned my kids. Time them out. Comment below and mention on social media, right? What would you prioritize? keeping the board happy or keeping the fans happy? It's a tricky one, that, isn't it?
Should we answer that now or next week? I think I've got an answer, maybe.
I'm interested in your views, but I want to hear what everyone else has got to say as well. So very quickly, if you're very quick, Aaron, who would you go for?
I think I'm going to go for the fans because they're paying to come. And that helps with the finances.
But then again, the board are paying your wages, Steve.
Ooh. This is it. They're the ones who could ultimately sack you, right? I mean, but then how much is that because of fan pressure? This is it feels like a bit of an experiment, because it feels like in FN24, Sports Interactive have upped the influence of the fans. I'm just looking again in the Club Vision supporters section in terms of the sort of the profile of supporters from hardcore to core to fair weather, etc. And that is dynamic. I'm assuming over the years it can change. And it's a question of, you kind of do. I feel like this is I'm going to get splinters in my ass from sitting on the fence here, but it does sound like you have to do both.
It's my job.
But it does sound like you have to prioritize. You have to do both because if you don't please the board, they will sack you. But if you completely ignore the fans, that pressure from the fans will then be exerted on the board, and the obvious point of pressure is the manager in the way of modern day football. Certainly in the Everton example, there may be wildly different examples elsewhere. But there are overlaps in the supporter and board expectations. So I sort of think, if you're doing a good job, then it's probably pleasing both sides,
But the counter argument to that is, I suppose, in real life, is seeing clubs that are maybe getting results, but the fans are going, but it's boring watching it. And it's just not entertaining. And you, from a neutral's perspective, you're looking going, but you're doing all right. Like, what's the problem? Like, but we're not winning the way we like to win. Like, and it's sort of that thing of, are football fans too picky? Are their expectations too high? Are the boards too quick on the trigger? That's the thing, isn't it? Ultimately, Steve, we'll pull that fence back out. It's a results business, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
Really, if you're doing a good job, you're kind of going to be a little bit more safe, really.
But I think, as we have touched on, as we'll move on to next, though, all of this, in terms of what the hierarchy is there an argument to say it's the Benjamins?
Well, it comes down to it at the end of the day, doesn't it? If it's going to be a case of, right, we're playing attacking football, but hey, we're staring relegation in the face, there's £50 million written out your bank balance the next day. So maybe entertaining football can go out the window for a little bit, Aaron.
I don't think I can do that.
We're still going to go down fighting, are you?
Yeah, I'm going to try. We are going to try there.
If we look into finances, because we touched upon this a little bit last week as well, Stephen. I think you answered a question yourself about staffing with regards to the magic money pot, where you thought that was coming out of a mythical nowhere budget, and Aaron and I, it was on the live show, and Aaron and I both laughed hysterically simultaneously. Just went, no, Steve, come on, there's definitely a pot of money for staff.
And turns out, for those who didn't necessarily see the live show, you'll watch it on the Patreon later on when we get it up there. But I was spending £30 million a year that I didn't realise I was spending on staff.
That can get you sacked. That can get you sacked when you fail financial fair play multiple times. And you know what? There's people already typing furiously going, but Tony, you fail FFP. Right, yeah, fine. Leave the comments below, but sometimes it's not my fault. It's the director of football at Atalanta. That was his fault.
Yeah.
But Aaron, talk to us through finances.
I was going to say, it is... it's obviously handy giving you, with all these tips about signing good coaches and stuff, but also be careful of the finances, because like what happened to Steve and happened to many others, including myself, you kind of just forget about it. You just see the money you're offering out, even compensation as well. Like, I just ignore it. I see 2 million there and I think, nah, that's not coming out of my budget. I don't know where it's coming from. Not my money, sort of thing. But
and it's not just the here and now money, Aaron. It's that long-term money where you're like, yeah, we'll spread that sale over 3 years, and we'll get that purchase over 3 years, and then we'll have, your wages will quadruple when you've played 9 games, and we'll give you 45 million quid when you score a goal. And you can look at the projection of where that money's going, can't you? And be like, oh dear, things don't look good.
Exactly. Should we just walk everyone through again through the labyrinth that is Football Manager's interface in terms of where we're doing that? So we're starting off on the left, aren't we, with finances, and then where are we going?
Yeah, I was going to say, because we're talking about stuff, we're just going to keep it on stuff, because actually in the finances page, there's a lot to look at. So we are going to go to the finances page, and you got expenditure as well. You just click on that. And then here you've got all your items of where your money is going. There's even non-footballing costs. I mean, that is nothing to do with me. I don't know where that money is going, but there is staff wages, and you've got 3 little sections. So you've got this month, last month, and this month. And this is where you can keep track of how much money you're spending on staff wages. Unfortunately, we can't actually see it here because this is day one. And of course, we haven't spent any money on staff just yet, but I'll give it a week or so, and then it will give me an idea of how much we are spending on staff alone. So make sure you do have a look at that page, because like I said, many others have completely ignored this. And sometimes you're wondering, hey, we should be having a lot more budget this year and that year. And this could be one of those reasons why staff wages might be eating up your money, and also transfer installments. But we would also talk about that on another day.
Yeah, as I say, if you start spreading that transfer over a period of time, your budget naturally the following year will be a little bit less, and the following year a little bit less, because that money's got to come from somewhere. There's also as well a tab where you can look at what just salary commitments as well. So of course you can see where there's going to be increases in wages, and there's also as well, Aaron, the little hint of sell-ons and clauses, where if you are struggling with some money a bit later into the season, and we'll come back to this as FM24 goes down, you can cash in on some of these little clauses and sell-ons and go, we're desperate, we need that money right now. Or you can waive the clauses if you're feeling a bit flush and you're like, you know what, let's just get rid of it.
This is my favorite. This is one of my favorite pages on Football Manager. And actually, if you are Southampton,
such a sneaky one, isn't it?
Yeah. And if you're Southampton, this is a really good page, because we're talking about 20 million before you've even click continue. So again, on the left-hand side, you've got transfers. And actually, sometimes it already show you straight away that you've got clauses available to buy and sell. But you got on the top left-hand side, again, you've got drop-down menus, just press clauses. And here you can keep track of all the clauses that are going in and that are going out. For the ones that are going in, sometimes you can negotiate. So for example, Harvey Barnes here at Leicester, there is a lot of installments and bonuses. After a while, I will be able to make a deal with Newcastle where I can sell that clause in, of course, exchange for some instant transfer money. At the moment at Leicester, we can't cash in on anything. Again, it's a shame that we can't show you, but it is on this page. And a lot of these players here, for example, James Maddison, and I know for sure would happen to Wesley Fofana and Harvey Barnes, because I have actually been Leicester in this game before, just testing out tactics. So you can absolutely sell these clauses within a few months. And we're talking millions.
But this is really millions for Southampton, really?
Yeah, well,
yeah,
because
Sunderland might have some as well.
Because sometimes they're sell-on clauses as well. So we're thinking some of the deals that Liverpool did at Southampton, buying Virgil van Dijk and that sort of stuff as well. They have left little clauses on, like sell-on clauses, which you can sell. And sometimes if Liverpool have bought Virgil van Dijk for £80 million, that sell-on clause is going to be pretty nice. And sometimes it's surprising.
But to be clear as well, this is like when you're in where Aaron has directed you guys to.
Yes.
Ones with this sort of pound sign next to it.
Yes.
I'm guessing if you set your game to dollars or euros, etc., it would be a euros sign as well. So it's not all of them. So you go to one of those. The reason I'm questioning it is because I'm looking at Everton's ones, and this just speaks to how the club's been run over the, they're all in the hundreds of thousands rather than millions. So that it's still kind of if you're in a spot, I'm looking at it, there's probably about 4 million I could get there, to be fair, instant cash. And to the point where it's like, well, if you sell some of these, for example, Richarlison went to Tottenham, Everton are due another £1 million after 53 league appearances, or right now I can get 760, which kind of feels worth it, because that's at least 2 seasons away, right?
Yeah, sometimes you need that money right now.
Oh,
and you might as well be like, you know what? Let's cash in. Let's cash in. I mean, things like MLS, you can do like salary dumps and like waive players from their roster and stuff. That can save a bit of money. But yeah, it's a cheeky little screen that I don't think enough people know about.
Yeah, they don't.
So yeah, have a little look when you get into your day one at your club to just see what money you can potentially buy back. I think that's pretty handy for a day one, and I feel like we should probably hit continue at at this moment right now. So I feel as though we should do that, okay? Next episode, I think we'll maybe talk about pre-season and we'll start moving it on to the next one and look what we do after we've done that, because I'm sure there'll be a few more hints and tips as well that we can talk about. And of course, do let us know if you've got anything else you absolutely do when you are setting your day one up at your new club or indeed your new nation. I tell you one thing you do when you're on your first day at work, Steve, is you log on to your email account and check your emails, don't you? We're going to check our emails right now, and we are in the mailbag. Steve, what have you got for us?
Yes, we can sneak one in today because of the way that we tend to sort of get ahead of ourselves and talk too much. As we said in the live show as well, that we had multiple other sections planned, binned them because we're having too much fun. Anyway, speaking of that live show from the mailbag, which you can get into if you email thefmshow@gmail.com. Have I done the email wrong?
Pod@gmail.com.
No, I did. I got it right. I was thinking it's FM show. I should have backed myself. The FM show.
Don't ever doubt yourself.
The FM show pod@gmail.com. The FM show pod@gmail.com, which is where, tell you who didn't get it wrong. Chandler Taylor didn't get it wrong. Chandler got it right. Chandler says, hello, everyone. Hope you're well. I was at the recent live show in Nottingham with my girlfriend, who is not an FM player, but she can because I'm going to watch Cinderella at the theatre with her. Just so it's a swap thing, I'm guessing. So Chandler shall go to the ball.
Nice. Nice.
And they both really enjoyed it. Well, thank you very much. Doesn't name his girlfriend, so Mike got Chandler in trouble, but he did write the email. But anyway, thank you very much to both of you for coming. She doesn't really understand the tactic bit that much. Neither do we. It's just Aaron. But enjoy the show as a whole, which is great. Lovely to hear that someone who has no idea what's going on enjoyed it. So thank you for that. Chandler's been listening to the show for about a year on the way to work, and it's helped with his FM save, which is with son Etienne in the sort of centre of France-ish. And as you discussed, Aaron, with your Lyon save, as many people who I'm sure have done in Ligue 1 have struggled with, it's PSG, man. It's PSG horrible in that league. In his 8 seasons playing that save, has only managed to win 1 French Cup. Coupe de France. For our friends.
That's pretty good for Saint Etienne, though.
Yeah. I think we lost our 2 back-to-back, I think. We lost in the French Cup final.
Former league champions, well, Saint Etienne, aren't
Very
they?
historically massive club in France. Yeah.
Historically very big, yeah.
But history is a long time ago. But yes, so as we discussed with FM24, Chandler has been able to carry that save from FM23 into FM24 just to finish the season. Because that final season he's got a chance of actually doing it, winning the league. So currently second, 2 points behind Nice and 1 point above PSG. That would be a lovely.
This is the season to do it. This is the season to do it. We should have sacked off the show. He should have brought his laptop. We could have done it for him. We could have seen it live and celebrated.
Depending on your seating at Cinderella, Chandler, maybe if you get in the background. There's a bit in the middle about pumpkin. It's not important. But anyway, so for Chandler's next save, once Saint Etienne is over, struggling between 2 teams and wanted our opinion. Now, I think I know how one of you will think about this. Chandler was thinking of going to the lower leagues of England, doing his local team, Melton Town, which going back to what he did in FM22, when he managed to get 4 promotions on the bounce, got to the National League North, but then when FM23 came out, he went on to the Saint Etienne save. So that's one option. Melton Town in the lower leagues of England. Or España. FC Andorra. No, Andorra is not in Spain, crucially, independent country. Very sorry to any Andorrans listening. FC Andorra, but they do play in the Spanish second tier and try and win as much as you can. Thanks for a great podcast and live show, Chandler. So, Melton Town or FC Andorra?
Should be mentioned that Melton Town are they the home, or very close at least to the home of the Melton Mowbray pork pie? So that's got to be considered. Really, if you're talking about a team that also has some sort of snack based around it, I mean, that's got to be considered. I mean, it might not be Melton. I mean, Melton Mowbray, of course, is Leicestershire, so maybe it is Melton. Maybe it's just, maybe they do have pies of some description. It's got to be a consideration.
It is.
But you know what, Steve? I'm going to throw you a curveball, right? I'm not going to go for Melton Town because I have also considered the Andorra save.
Really?
I've considered it before, and it's absolutely on my radar as something that I might do in the future. Partly because the Andorra shirt is an absolute banger, by the way.
Yeah, I like the colours as well. Yeah.
If you've not seen the Andorra football shirt, go and have a look at that. But yeah, the idea, because there's the idea of the Build a Nation Andorra, isn't it, where you can try to win La Liga and the Champions League with Andorra. So you know what? Sign me up.
But their chairman, I don't know if it's in the game actually. I'm just going to check now actually. Staff, the board. In real life, it's owned by Gerard Piqué.
Yeah, I was going to say it's that
Piqué,
dude,
isn't it? Yeah.
That dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That dude.
But, you can do. Yeah, you can do Build a Nation Andorra.
Yeah, I might have to hiccup.
It's been on my radar before. I would go there personally because I sort of think if you've done, and I know this is going to sound really silly because I'm literally doing that, but if you've done the tier 10 to the top, you've kind of already done it, especially if you're doing the same team. Like, do you have that same desire to do it again? Whereas Andorra feels different, plays different. You've got to overcome so many different things that you don't necessarily get in a tier 10 save. So for me personally, Steve, I know you're probably expecting me saying Melton Town all the way, but yeah, I'm Andorra, and I think Aaron is as well. So what about yourself, Steve? Is it a full house?
I think I've been convinced. As much as I don't eat meat anymore, so pork pies don't really do it for me as much as I used to. But yeah, so FC Andorra.
Literally based on the fact that you don't eat meat.
Yeah,
well, to be honest, get rid of the pies. It was down to the pies. You lost me.
Yeah, down to the pies. Always is. Always down to the pies. But yes, so Chandler, there you go. It's a full house. FC Andorra.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And there's the new T-shirt slogan that's going to come out later on. Choosing your team based on the pies. So I tell you what, if you want to send us a T-shirt slogan or any other correspondence for that matter, feel free to get in touch via social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Join the Discord. Comment, of course, on YouTube. All long-form correspondence should come via the FM Show Pod at Gmail. That's the FM Show Pod at gmail.com. Or, of course, get in touch via those social media methods. Or come and join us on Patreon, where you can see last week's live show. But you know what? That feels like a podcast episode. So that was episode 18 of the FM Show, hosted by myself, Tony Jameson. Our co-host was Aaron Falloon, a.k.a. RDF Tactics. Our producer was producer Steve Hankey. Take care of yourselves. See you soon, everyone. We'll come back with another one.